So MrBeast, conman or businessman? Dan, what do you know about MrBeast?
Well, I know he's a young YouTuber. I know that he's probably like an ultra millionaire, billionaire or something like that. I know that he runs a burger chain, Beast Burgers, and has a chocolate bar company, Feastables.
Yep.
And I know that everyone's talking about him right now for potentially being a conman.
Funnily enough, I do find myself occasionally watching his...
I know that you just sit around watching MrBeast videos all day long. That's why you're so interested in talking to him. I bet you know a lot about him. Okay, so I said, I reckon he's worth millions, maybe billions. How much is MrBeast worth?
So I think in 2024, he was worth 750 million. But there were also offers, apparently, and this is the YouTube world, so you have to take apparently with a bit of a pinch of salt, apparently for $1 billion, which at 26 years old is quite phenomenal. And I do think and we're going to get into the allegations and the controversy and the things that he has clearly done wrong and the things that he's clearly done right, but to be 26, to be as accomplished as he is, and to have branded himself in the way that while being so wealthy and so successful, most people would identify him as that internet philanthropist, which is quite wild that he's the guy that gives away loads of money and kids absolutely love and like adore him.
Kids and Chris,
you know. I suppose I'm so interested in him because I'm always interested in the idea that entrepreneurs are bad at promoting themselves. And at a fundamental level, he's very good at promoting what he does. And he's clearly worked out that giving away cash and giving away or being philanthropic is an incredible way to gain views. So you've seen his videos.
Oh, yeah, of course I have. I mean, it seems like a bit like the Pied Piper of YouTube, really. At the end of the day, if you were going to come up with a more predatorial name to like play on the psyches of innocent 10-year-olds, you probably would call yourself MrBeast.
Yeah, even saying that aloud now.
Right?
Yeah. Feels so strange, doesn't it?
It's all just a bit weird.
Yeah. And like, you know, we can run the clip now where MrBeast himself talks about the age of his audience.
Yeah.
How old's your audience?
I would say the average viewer is like, I don't know, like a 15 to 20-year-old that likes video games.
MrBeast for me has always been, he's kind of OG YouTube giving away money to homeless people. I feel like that will always stick in the back of my head as he was one of the first people to do it. But we know that this is one of the things that these people do. They go and they find a homeless person, they put a camera in their face, they give them $10,000 and they say, please act incredibly grateful.
I'm going to give a random homeless guy $10,000 today.
How's it going? It's a series where I just, you know, be nice and just give people some help. So if you want to take it, it's about $10,000. I'm not joking.
You're right.
Oh, man.
Yeah, see, I'm massively in two minds about this because I actually have a tiny bit of vicarious sector expertise. So I invested in a company that essentially helps homeless people get training, skills, jobs through probation and properly back into society from the streets all the way through. So a friend of mine, Alex Stephanie, started a company called Beam. And it's a social enterprise. And what that means is it's a for-profit company that uses government funding money for local councils and stuff. And also people like me might donate to help Alex off the street and into work. So you sort of do crowdfunding for people who are homeless as well. But you help them get skills like become an electrician, become a teacher or whatever. And they literally go through the entire cycle. It's a multi-100-person organization because they understand that you can't just shove $10,000 in someone's face and say, now don't be poor and integrate in society. It doesn't work that way. It's a complex issue. And Alex gets so much stick for running a for-profit company that actually demonstrably makes an impact on society because his company makes profit solving problems that government is not well set up to do. But what Alex doesn't do is take the credit personally, go on camera, say to homeless people, do this and like, you know, dance for money, basically. Yeah. He does all the right things, does it privately, still gets a lot of slack. And Jimmy, as in MrBeast,
you do know him well.
I do take some issue with him telling people what to do for $10,000.
Yeah.
I actually did see the video. We talked about this. I saw that video of that guy where it's something like he gave $1 million to someone.
Yeah, and
they gave him 1 hour
education
on how to spend $1 million. 1 hour. You run that clip.
What we're actually going to do is be responsible and try to set Mark up for his future. So we're going to make smart purchases like a house, cars, and do some investing.
We had planned out the house and stuff. I literally had an hour. He had somebody come to my house, and we sat down and we planned all this in an hour.
I know you talked about wanting to maybe invest $50K and then set aside like the other 23 for just other little nuances here and there.
What I think what happened was somebody that worked for MrBeast or something like that was supposed to probably help me invest, but that didn't happen.
So this clip is obviously showing someone they've given $1 million to and a sort of scant 1 hour education on how to spend their $1 million. What do you think about that?
Every single study ever made in the history of humanity demonstrates that you can't solve people's life situations by throwing money at them and not giving them proper education and integration. It's one of those most obvious things ever about, lottery winners.
Yeah.
Lottery winners, and we'll come back to lotteries, but lottery winners do not maintain their wealth. They manage to lose it very quickly. They similarly also show that people with family money and dynasties, the later
third generation wealth isn't a thing.
Exactly. They end up spending it all not understanding. Whereas people who are self-made and learning how to spend their money and distribute it in society, they're the ones that maintain the wealth. So the point is, wealth is a skill. And understanding how to maintain wealth is a skill. You cannot just throw $1 million at someone and not expect it to make a difference in that person's life. It should do, and all signs speak to the fact it should, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
And that was the case for this guy too.
Yeah, and so I think his practices of giving away money is bizarre when you look under the parapet a bit and you say, like, what is the intention here? And it's clear that if you give away $10,000 in a video, the video goes viral, you make so much more money from it.
Well, yeah, I mean, what YouTuber on earth isn't going to want to say, I'll invest $10,000 and get $1 million back? Well,
absolutely.
Fuck YouTuber. Like, what person?
Yeah.
Right? That's just a great...
10,000 in here, $1 million comes out here. Whatever it is, like those videos where he gives away money will generate huge ad sponsorship. And I think it's interesting where like he has become, I would say en masse until recently, and we're going to get into the allegations shortly, unanimously loved. And if you look at other billionaires, and he's becoming very similar to that now, they're villainized. Mark Zuckerberg growing up was evil, and yet he was providing a free service. Yes, he was taking our data and all the rest of it. But MrBeast branding has always been about being a philanthropist, whereas his product is often tricking, misleading, and manipulating his audience.
So before we get onto any of the actual serious allegations around MrBeast, the first thing that we were talking about, just sort of minor one, sort of not, is that actually a lot of his content's fake. And in some ways, who cares? Yeah.
I mean, I agree. Like, I think that you and I, when looking in at the content previously, looking at his massive Squid Game video or, the 100 girls versus 100 boys videos or Sink the Yacht, like I have watched a lot of it. I'm never sitting there going, this is 100% real life. Yeah. This is entertainment to me. I'm watching an entertainment show, and like I've worked in media for 10 years. Behind the camera, your job is to move things around and create incredible entertainment. And so I think for you and me, I don't necessarily find that, one, surprising, but two, that bad. I'm okay with it. But
well, what's annoying is he says things like this.
I actually have to dial back my content sometimes just so people think it's real. But also, if what we had to film was scripted, because what we do is non-scripted, so you have to plan for a bunch of variables that you can't control, blah, blah. If what we did was scripted, holy shit, this stuff would be easy to pump out.
However, methinks he doth protest too much. Well, because at the end of the day, like, no one's asking.
Yeah.
Just get on with the entertainment.
I think that's
stop
the point.
Talking about it.
If he had made the entertainment, it was as good as it was, etc., etc., we all loved it, but we knew there was some fakery and some TV to it, I'm totally okay with it. The fact that he's continuously banging on about it being real is the thing that I'm sort of like, I'm questioning you. But also, I think as we get into this, for me, it goes as a slant against the character. If you're willing to lie en masse like that, so blatantly, what else are you willing to lie about?
It's sort of a really poor comparison, but like the way that I think about this, every single time I'm on Instagram and I see someone tell me how successful they are with their Ferrari and their house and stuff, I know they're not. Successful people don't go around telling you. It's just not necessary.
Very, very true. I think for anyone watching, anyone who tries to convince you with a Lamborghini or a fake photo of a private jet, like they are probably trying to sell you something. There's some con trickery going on somewhere.
Which lends ourselves to ask the question, is this all one big con? Yeah. So let's get into the main accusation. What the fuck is going on with these lotteries?
So the main allegations are illegal lotteries, misleading consumers, and fraud in terms of signing merch as MrBeast, selling that merch as MrBeast, but it's not being signed by MrBeast.
And may I add, as the parent in the room, absolutely predatory behavior to kids, which is generally protected under advertising laws and rules.
Absolutely. And so as we get into it, I think the first part to look at here is the illegal lotteries. So the thing we were talking about before the show was lotteries and the fact that they are fundamentally gambling. And what did you say about gambling?
Well, the house always wins.
Yep.
So let's take lotteries in the UK and the US, right? So you have the National Lottery in the UK, you have the US Lottery, what is it called?
Powerball.
Powerball, thank you. They're both charities. And so the thing is, when you're playing a lottery, your chances of winning are 1 in 4 million.
In the UK.
In the UK, sorry. Yeah. So how many people in the UK play the UK lottery?
It's actually, I had to look this up and I had to verify it. It was astounding, but 45 million people regularly play.
Let's sit with this fact for a second. 45 million adults over 18. Are stupid enough to believe that they are the 1 in 4 million chance people that are going to win the lottery this week.
It's astounding.
The majority of adult population.
Staggering.
Right? However, obviously when all of them don't win every single week, that money all goes into a charitable organization, and the National Lottery does amazing things in society and spends a lot of money on great things. So you kind of don't mind. When you, as an 18-year-old, walk into a casino and spend your money, there are so many things, having been to casinos in Vegas, etc., there are non-stop things that they try and do to stop you from gambling.
Warning signs.
They encourage you. They give you warning signs. It's like smoking. They try and put you off this stuff. It's not good for you.
If you go on a gambling website, they make you verify that you're 18 before you can even play, and they give you a warning about how addictive gambling is.
Yes. So then let's compare all of that to what MrBeast does.
So MrBeast is doing these live stream illegal lotteries, which we can see here in this clip.
For those of you who are just joining, if you buy one of our limited edition 40 mil special shirts, we're celebrating 40 million subscribers with a really big video, then we will sign that shirt, and some of them will get random prizes like this. In 10 minutes, right, because we gotta give them time to do their cart, we'll give 2 orders $500 each. 5 minutes, someone's getting $3 grand in their order. In 5 minutes, we're gonna do the same thing again. We're gonna put $1,000 in a random order. 2 minutes, newest order gets $2,000. Good luck, everybody.
And effectively what's happening is every 5 to 10 minutes, him and his team are saying the next person who buys one of these shirts is going to get one of these gifts. And we're putting all of the gifts into these parcels as we send them out. Now, there's no structure to what they're doing. And so everyone watching the show thinks the chances of them winning from spending $35 for the shirt and getting a $1,000 prize or getting a Lamborghini, the gap between those two things is made from a psychological trick to be so close together that they are pumping their audience to put in money. Whereas in reality, not that adults are much smarter, in reality, adults do know the chance of winning is incredibly low. Whereas a lot of the feedback that they get on their channel is, my son or my daughter who spent my money really thought they were winning this prize.
And this is kind of the thing that I take personal umbrage with, right? So because of heights, I've done a lot of work on researching the brain and all the newsletters I've written on the brain. There's an enormous difference between an adult brain, really over 25. Your brain is still developing until you're 25, right? But let's just say that over 18, you maybe start to make more rational decisions. In your teenage years, from 10 to 18, your prefrontal cortex and your hippocampus are still being developed. You are literally unable to make rational decisions sometimes. That's why juvenile prison and detention works, right? Because they're saying, listen, if you made that misdemeanor or that mistake under the age of 18, you weren't necessarily fully logical or rational to make that decision. We shouldn't punish you for your adult life for it. There is common sense behind that. Kids in that age range are so easily manipulated, and they are just learning how to deal with the swings of emotions and chemicals in their body, right? So the dopamine hits that are coming from the excitement and the idea of being next to win and all this stuff, they cannot compute things like a rational adult can. And this is why there are literal laws around lotteries, gambling, etc., to protect that age range. And this is just circumventing the whole entire thing. Why? To get likes and subscribes. It's pretty predatory on the exact kind of audience that the entire governmental system in every country is set up to protect.
And if we were to think now that a entrepreneur sets up a private lottery online, they would be met with disdain. They'd be met with parents, especially if it's targeted at children, they'd be met with so much negative press. And yet MrBeast wears his kind of shield of, I give out things to kids.
I mean, just think about the most successful and most celebrated entrepreneurs in the UK. Some of the most successful ones are the ones who run the gambling sites. And no one likes or respects them. They're vilified people, right? Britain's most successful female entrepreneur, I think, runs at one of the largest gambling sites. And obviously people do not respect her because people think that gambling is not an appropriate way to make money off people.
And she's running a,
regulated, legitimate business within the parameters of the law.
Exactly, for 18-year-olds
totally.
and above. Whereas MrBeast is running one for children and tricking them into purchasing. Yeah. And I think one of the things we discussed earlier was the fact that MrBeast talks about how much he cares about health and obesity so much. And for you, who works in health and brain health and has children, that must come across as the most jarring thing in the world, that his products are...
Yeah, I can't quite square this one. So this is either deliberately predatory or he's stupid, which we've clearly established he's not. He's one of the greatest entrepreneurs in the whole entire planet. Or he's just got his morals just completely backwards. So, Chris, if I said to you, I'm looking to make my next healthcare consumer business, and my first two products are going to be a chocolate bar range and cookies and a burger chain.
Yeah.
What would you say to me if those are my choices for promoting health?
I mean, it's laughable. I mean, maybe try promoting walking or promoting running or anything that doesn't funnel people towards the chocolate aisle or fast food.
I wanted to just make a better for you snack brand because I think a lot of the stuff out there is just terrible for you.
Because obviously so much obesity and disease comes from the stuff we eat. People are just walking to the chocolate aisle and instead of buying Hershey's, buying Feastables. Like, people who never would have bought chocolate in Walmart.
I think it's fair to say, you'd say that my reputation would be in tatters if I tried to go out there and say authentically, I care about children's health.
Yeah.
So I'm making a healthier chocolate bar. You are literally sending kids to the chocolate bar aisles and telling their parents to buy MrBeast chocolate because they're obsessed with you.
He's also using lotteries and illegal lotteries to promote the chocolate. And then I even saw that he did like a
golden ticket,
yeah,
like Willy Wonka,
you know. And so like he's gamifying children obsessing over chocolate and burgers.
That's it. He's encouraging people to buy even more than they would otherwise.
Yeah, which is wild. And that's where, again, from a character slant point of view, someone who is willing to stand up and say those things and then do the counter opposite to them does lead you to believe that while they might be so intelligent, they also have some seriously shaky morals.
Well, that's just sinister.
Yeah, that is sinister. Now, Dan, I wanted to run something by you. What does this sound like? I'm going to lock you in a room, maybe in a shop. I'm going to leave the lights on and you can't leave the room. So when you sleep, the lights will be on. I'm going to provide you food and drink at my leisure. I'm going to make you do random challenges throughout that period of time, but you will have no context of time. One of the challenges might be I might forcefully make you run a marathon with no training. I will take away your phone so you can't contact your friends or your family. What does that sound like to you?
You sound like Osama bin Laden, and it sounds like an ISIS detention camp.
It sounds like Guantanamo Bay. I mean, like, I think that went on to become an incredibly successful video of MrBeast, and one of the allegations came out from someone who was subjected to that and has since expressed that they went through serious physical and mental trauma being locked in that room and subjected to these challenges and so forth. And so again, I'm sat here thinking to myself that for an audience that is predominantly kids, should entertainment be effectively a glamorized version of torturing people, or should we be really fighting against that type of content?
Yeah, it's quite difficult, isn't it? Again, like I was watching some of his content recently. It's shorter and shorter, isn't it? And more ridiculous things are sort of happening. And he's blowing this thing up. There's that train going in that pit over there. There's so much stuff that you're just like, how do you even... The other thing that he's doing is, how do you even compete when you're other content creators for people's attention? That's fundamentally the other thing that he's doing, sort of weaponizing this unbelievable engine that he's got for generating cash for minutes viewed and eyeballs. And then also making it so hard for other creators to even get a look in.
Yeah. So I suppose the question we're trying to answer is MrBeast a businessman or a con man? And I think it's hard to say that he is objectively not one of the most impressive entrepreneurs of a generation. At 26 years old, to have built what he's built, I feel like he's just getting started in many ways. He's got his whole business career ahead of him. His success is compounding at a remarkable rate. He is unbelievably consistent. They know how to test. They know how to market. They understand their customers. They can launch products. And so there is so much for all of us to learn from him. So what are the cons that you're taking away from today?
Well, if that's why he's a businessman, I'd say he's a con man, because above anything else, this lottery thing, right? It's just willfully and knowingly scamming his audience. I mean, who's ever win this $10,000, win this Lamborghini, win this $1 million? Most of those things, there's no evidence of it ever happening, right? It's just saying it. It's just as easy for you and I to say, win $1 million for liking and subscribing.
Yeah, if you subscribe to Secret Leaders, you'll get a Lamborghini.
Yeah, from MrBeast. Join the back of the line. But I can't square that. I find it really disingenuous, and I just find it so irritatingly irresponsible to try and talk about tackling obesity by selling chocolate bars and burgers. Have some fucking self-respect. It's clearly con man language, and if it's not, apologize for it. Or if you actually care about those things, create health-related businesses. It's not that hard. You don't create confectionery and burger businesses when you care about health, so just don't frame it that way. So then I suppose the final thing is, if he is a true con man and he's got this sort of shady past and maybe he can get past it, actually sets him up really well for his latest endeavor, which is potentially running for president. What do you think about that?
He did actually say that he would run for president.
Yeah.
And people shouldn't make light of that, because we have seen that obviously Trump...
young people voting.
Yeah, young people voting. Trump, love him or hate him, one of the reasons he was so successful is that he had that face and brand recognition, and he's been able to overcome unbelievable adversity and lawsuits and smear attacks and all the rest of it. And so MrBeast or Jimmy Donaldson, he is very primed to be able to gather an enormous amount of support. And when you think about politics, that's scary. And so someone who, as you say, has got, some very clearly malicious or very immoral or, inconsiderate views of his customers, it does scare me to think what power comes from audience. And so for me, that worries me.
The only other thing I'd say is, if there's one thing that I can't stand in society, it's the idea of cancel culture, which is based on the idea that people can't change. So you should be held accountable to your past actions forever, because if that's how we behave as a society, there's no motivation for anyone to improve. And so this is actually a really great opportunity for Jimmy and a wake-up call.
If he wants to come on the show.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We're inviting you. Don't forget to like and subscribe, Jimmy. But he's ultimately built the biggest platform on YouTube in the world.
Yeah.
He's then been called out for a lot of the business practices that are quite clearly not correct. It's an opportunity for him to reflect, and also an opportunity for redemption, to be a much better entrepreneur, person, do this philanthropy with honest love in his heart, structure, and actually make a difference to society. Those are clear opportunities for him if he can change.
The comeback could be even stronger. If he geared himself up now to address the concerns, deal with the concerns, structurally, transform his business to being a company that, yes, makes a huge amount of money. I have nothing against that. Nope. I think that's absolutely awesome. But use that money for profit, of course. But to do something really good, I think it's amazing. And I think, like you say, I don't want to cancel someone at 26 years old. I'm not sitting here at all saying that I think I was a finished product at 26. So much to learn. And so let's keep watching, let's keep reporting on it. And so to all of you watching along, please subscribe, Give this video a like.
Get a free Lamborghini.
Hopefully MrBeast will come on and talk about the changes he's going to make in his business. And let us know what you want us to cover on this channel. Every single week, we're seeking to make it better. So thank you for tuning in. I've been Chris.
I'm Dan.
Thank you for watching Secret Leaders.
And see you next time.